Fox 61 News at 5 starts now.
There's been really a Herculean effort.
Now at 5, Hurricane Ian just downgraded to a tropical storm. We're getting a closer look at the damage and the search and recovery effort in Florida as the storm makes landfall in South Carolina.
It's not just Florida's tragedy, it's everyone's tragedy.
Plus, the impacts of Ian being felt even up here in Connecticut. We are hearing from travelers looking to make their way home.
And police asking for the public's help as they investigate an alleged hate crime. New tonight, we're hearing exclusively from the victim as he speaks out for the first time.
And an arrest made in a 2017 fatal hit and run just before the end of the statute of limitations. Now the family is speaking out about finally getting closure.
Good evening and thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Jen Bernstein. We are continuing to track Ian tonight. The storm just getting downgraded right after making landfall in South Carolina this afternoon in Georgetown, just north of Charleston and south of Myrtle Beach.
And new tonight, we're getting a closer look at the damage in Florida. Some images out of Fort Myers. At least 9 people have been reported dead from the storm, but officials say that number could easily rise.
Joining us right now with a check on the latest forecast is Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. Rach.
Well, it looks like the storm surge is starting to come down along the shorelines of the Carolinas, which is a relief up to 6 feet in some areas. But the ongoing threat remains not only for heavy rain, but also for a threat for severe weather with an ongoing tornado risk where the storm made landfall all the way north towards Washington, D.C. Winds of 70 miles per hour. Technically, it's post-tropical storm Ian. What does that mean? Well, it's not really a tropical storm anymore. The storm's kind of lopsided and more typical of what you'd expect to see in a regular area of low pressure. So the question, where does the storm go from here? It's going to continue to move north at about 15 miles per hour. It will weaken rapidly. You'll see here at 2 o'clock in the morning, winds of 40 miles per hour and eventually just diminishing completely. This is the last update that you'll end up seeing from the storm heading into Saturday afternoon. Nowhere near us, right? But we are going to get affected by the storm because its rainfall is starting to stream north. So tropical rainfall associated with Ian heading this way. We are not anticipating damaging winds. We are not anticipating storm surge, but it is going to be a chilly, raw, and at times rainy weekend, especially during the day on Saturday. Taking a look, the National Weather Service has actually highlighted parts of the Connecticut shoreline on south for a higher risk of seeing excessive rainfall. So there could even be some heavier downpours out there tomorrow with some poor drainage issues. Periods of rain for your Saturday. Some could be heavy at times. And then it looks like Sunday will turn windy. Your full weekend forecast coming up.
Okay, Rachel, thank you. Rescue and recovery efforts underway in Florida as we speak as Ian reached the Carolinas. That storm making landfall near Georgetown, South Carolina this afternoon. Madeline Rivera has the very latest from Fort Myers, Florida.
As Floridians take in the catastrophic damage left behind by Hurricane Ian, the storm has made its second landfall in South Carolina. Ian coming ashore for a second time as a Category 1 hurricane. North and South Carolina bracing for the potential of life-threatening storm surges up to 7 feet, as well as winds up to 85 miles per hour and flooding up through southern Virginia. In Charleston, residents preparing as best as they can, while officials encourage them to stay indoors as the storm moves through the area.
We just secured the house and, put the cars in the garages and waiting what will happen next.
Stay indoors, stay off the roads. It's the wind coupled with the trees, with the flying debris.
Meanwhile, in Florida, residents are taking in the extent of the destruction left behind by the powerful storm.
It took everything from everyone, and it's just devastating.
Ian tearing through entire communities, leaving millions without power and some stranded due to impassable roads and bridges.
I just want the people of Florida to know we see what you're going through and we're with you. We're going to do everything we can for you.
And rescue workers continue their work to help those trapped by the storm surge. Hundreds of high water rescues being carried out, with the U.S. Coast Guard flying into some of the hardest hit areas. Ian could be one of the most expensive weather disasters in U.S. history, with insurance losses projected to reach nearly $40 billion. In Fort Myers, Florida, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
And as Ian rakes across the Carolinas, Floridians are left with severe devastation. Some communities are worse off than others, of course, but most of the state is focused on cleaning up the aftermath.
Fox 61's Carmen Chow joins us live at Bradley International Airport, where some flights to Florida have opened back up. Carmen.
Brent and Jen, it really depends where in Florida you're headed to, but you can see behind me on this schedule board that some flights to and from Florida are canceled, while some are on time as airports start to reopen there. Now, 2 people I spoke to say they are lucky they were here in Connecticut during this hurricane.
I did Hurricane Matthew, so I kind of know what to expect, but this was kind of a shocker.
Courtney Kaler landed in Connecticut just days before Hurricane Ian ripped through Florida. She came here for work, a trip that was planned way before Hurricane Ian was even talked about. Kaler sharing these photos of the damage at the construction company her husband works for. She says looking at these makes her anxious to fly back to Orlando.
You're safe, so that's a good thing. But as a Floridian, you want to be there to help people around you, to help protect your property, your animals. It was kind of bittersweet.
Some in Fort Myers and Naples lost everything. Fox 61 spoke to TJ Snapkowski on the phone, a Torrington native who now lives in Naples.
We lost power super early. I think we lost power 7:30 in the morning on Wednesday. So even before the bulk of the storm came, just because of the overnight winds, we lost power really early.
He captured these cell phone videos outside of his condo when the hurricane started showing its symptoms. And this is how it looked after the storm left. Snapkowski and his fiancee traveled a half hour to Bonita Springs, where this rental property was originally submerged in water.
One of the bridges to get to part of Bonita Springs, one of the bridges had a boat on it, like an actual yacht, like a 40-foot yacht was on this bridge. We couldn't get over it.
Kaler saying the effect of this hurricane left a taste of heartbreak and loss in everyone.
They're from all over the country coming to Florida, so it's not just Florida's tragedy, it's everyone's tragedy.
Now, a lot of airports in Florida reopened this morning or afternoon, but if you're flying to the Carolinas, you should check your flight status since that tropical storm has made landfall there. I'm live at Bradley International Airport. Carmen Chow, Fox 61 News.
All right, Carmen, thank you. And we are on top of all things Hurricane Ian. For the very latest on its path and how it could impact Connecticut, download our free Fox 61 News app.
To a Fox 61 exclusive now, the victim of an alleged hate crime in New Haven speaking out for the first time.
This comes as police are asking the public for help getting him justice. Fox 61's Gabby Molina spoke to him. She's live in New Haven right now with more. Gabby.
Brent, Jen, that attack happened here along York Street in New Haven, right near Yale University's campus. I did get a chance to speak to the victim today. He says that he is doing well, but he had to spend 5 days in the hospital after needing jaw surgery, but he's home now and recovering. After a night out with friends, Franklin Cruz Rosa became the victim of a violent attack.
We just bumped into this group of kids, and most of the sidewalk is kind of filled, so it's kind of it's unavoidable. So we bumped into them on accident, and then they started just getting aggressive, and the violent started to yell racial slurs.
It happened right after midnight on September 3rd. He says he remembers 2 people hitting him after he confronted the group for using the racial slurs.
Guy started just asking what just gives you guys the right to say these things, and at that point I caught a punch to the side of my face, and then one of the dudes just started just wailing on me, punching me in the face, and I couldn't defend myself at that point.
It sent him to the hospital with a broken jaw and an injury to his head.
The inflammation has come down and everything, it was very puffed up, and the scar on the side here is healing too.
New Haven and Yale police are investigating the incident and now asking for the public's help. Friday, they released surveillance photos of a group of people they want to speak to.
We know that someone out there will recognize these individuals. We would like to speak with them. We want to hear their side as to what they saw, their involvement, and any additional information that they may have.
Cruz Rosa says he's in high spirits and feeling positive, and is also asking anyone with information about what happened to him to come forward.
hopefully people can try to like recognize that and just bring like some, like some sort of justice.
To get a closer look at those surveillance photos, head to our website, fox61.com. And if you think you recognize the people in those pictures, you can report that to police anonymously. Live in New Haven, Gabby Molina, Fox 61 News.
Those surveillance pictures, Gabby, pretty clear. Thank you very much. All right, well, new tonight, state police have put one of their own on paid administrative leave after she was arrested by Manchester police on drug charges. State police confirmed Lakeisha Murphy was arrested earlier this week. The Manchester police say Murphy and another man were charged with several different drug charges. The Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection says that Murphy has been a dispatcher in Middletown since 2013.
New details tonight. An arrest has been made in a deadly hit and run in New Haven that happened back in 2017. Today, New Haven police announced they have arrested 33-year-old Devon White of West Haven. Police say he was the driver who hit and killed 38-year-old Shanika Woods at the intersection of Orange Avenue and El Grasso Boulevard 5 years ago. Her family says tonight the arrest helps bring them closure.
It was 5 years, and we finally can sleep a little bit better. A little bit of closure. My sister is truly missed, and there are no words that can describe how much we miss her.
The police say the statute of limitations was about to run out on this case, and they are grateful they were able to make an arrest before that happened.
We have an update on an attempted armed robbery in Manchester. The suspect in the case has been arrested by police. Ugh, hard to watch. 19-year-old Paul Davis of Hartford is accused of an attempted robbery and then shooting a 54-year-old man at a mobile gas station in February. Davis is facing multiple charges. He's currently being held on a $750,000 bond.
A crash between a car and a tractor trailer this morning caused heavy backup in East Windsor. Police say the driver of the car lost control as they rounded a curve on I-91 South near exit 45, striking then the left side of that tractor trailer. That tractor trailer then lost control as well, and the car ended up sandwiched in between the truck and the concrete barrier. Both drivers suffered minor injuries. The crash also resulted in a fuel spill, closing multiple lanes on either side of the highway for cleanup. The driver of the car was found at fault and issued a ticket.